Welcome into the 49ers Report right here on Chat Sports. Hope all of you having a fantastic week and weekend. A reminder, join us Sunday, last regular season watch party. Cardinals on the road to take on the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco still with an opportunity with the Philadelphia Eagles loss to get the number one seed in the NFC. There's a lot to play for. Can't wait to break it all down during our watch party on Sunday. Make sure you subscribe and join us as we continue to grow the faithful family here at Chat Sports. So coming your way on today's show, we're going to open up the floor, one of my favorite segments where we're able to chop it up and talk all things Niners with all of our loyal subscribers. Another reason why you have to subscribe to the channel, hashtag 49ers or Super Chat for your questions, your comments, and your hot takes to get featured here on the program. John Wallace with a $2 donation coming in. Will Aaron Banks be back? Should the 49ers rest him? There is an opportunity for Aaron Banks to come back, who has been great in his sophomore campaign, flanked to Trent Williams along that Niners offensive line. Kyle Shanahan with an update on Aaron Banks and Dre Greenlaw this week, saying this in the aftermath of that Raiders game. As bad as both of the injuries looked, we didn't know if it would be for the whole season, that they'd be lost or not. We feel like we got some good news on that so far. So hopefully that good news does continue for San Francisco, because if you're depleted along that offensive line, you're suffering some injuries there, that is something that can affect the pass game. That's something that can affect the run game and really curtail any hopes for a Super Bowl run. And Aaron Banks has been very, very good along this offensive line for the Niners in his second NFL season. Guerrero, $5 Super Chat. Thank you, man. Giants will beat the Eagles, and my Niners will beat the Arizona Cardinals. Go Niners. What do you think, sir? So if that does happen, then I'm sure you already know what the playoff picture is going to look like, right? San Francisco would get the number one seed. And wouldn't that be crazy? They entered last week before that Raiders game in the number 3 seed. They come back from 10. They win in overtime. Robbie Gould, split the uprights. Minnesota Vikings got dominated by the Green Bay Packers. And because the Niners had the better NFC record, they moved up to that 2 seed. Philadelphia Eagles kind of struggling a little bit in the final couple of weeks. So if they lose against the Giants and the Niners do win, home field advantage goes through Levi Stadium, just like it did in 2019 when San Francisco was dominant in this conference. So who you got on Sunday? Get those game predictions in. Niners at home for their final regular season game of the 2022 season. ARI for the Cardinals, SF for the Niners. Let us know. Steve, another $5 Super Chat coming in. So who takes the number 1 seed next week if the Eagles lose and the Niners win? What if the Cowboys win and the Vikings win? Who wins the 4-way tie and why? So a lot of playoff implications certainly at play. If the Cowboys win and the Niners win as well, I believe the tiebreaker goes to San Francisco. If the Cowboys win and the Niners lose, and the Eagles lose, the Eagles have to lose that number 1 seed pretty much. Then the Cowboys would get that number 1 seed. If the Vikings and the Niners are tied, San Francisco still does have the tiebreaker, I believe, for the top position among the Niners and the Vikings because of the better NFC record. There's a lot going on that front, Steve. I do appreciate the question, but let's hope that the Eagles can lose, the Niners win, Niners get that number 1 seed in the NFC. More questions coming up right around the bend, but first, our mailbag today is presented by Rocket Money. Cancel unnecessary subscriptions and start saving money today with Rocket Money. Free, easy-to-use app. And you can download it today by heading to rocketmoney.com/Niners. Let me ask you this question. Are you wasting money on subscriptions? Well, get this. 80% of people have subscriptions that they totally forget about. Maybe for you, unused Amazon Prime account or a Hulu account that never gets streamed. There's this great app that I use. It helps me track all of those expenses. And because of it, I no longer waste money on those subscriptions that I don't even use. You may have heard of it. It's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. App shows you all of your subscriptions in one place, then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for, so get rid of those useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Head to rocketmoney.com/Niners. Stay on top of your upcoming bills. They'll cancel those subscriptions for you, and you can view all of those subscriptions on one screen and cancel them by hitting the cancel button. One of our big loyal subscribers here on the Niners Report, it is Chua Lore. And then we have another $5 super chat coming in from Dean Slater. Chua, how can we clean up the penalties? You don't commit them. And I thought that San Francisco was pretty solid with penalties against the Raiders. Like, there are going to be penalties here and there. But if you commit too many, like, that is something that can cost you in a playoff game. And the 49ers do have to clean that up just a little bit. Just have to be a little bit more disciplined on that front, Chua. Dean Slater, $5 super chat. Bang, bang, Niners win 31-10 against the Arizona Cardinals. So, Dean, Niners no doubt should win this football game. It would be a massive, massive upset. Looks as though Trace McSorley is going to get the start again for Arizona. And even if the Niners rest a lot of their players, they're still so deep on both sides of the ball that they should be able to win this football game. So speaking of Cardinals, Niners, Levi's Stadium, 4:25 p.m. Eastern kickoff. We'll probably go live, I'm thinking an hour before the game on Sunday. Predict the score. Let us know down in the comments section. And if you're right, you're a wizard. Garrow, we got to take the Cardinals seriously because every team is going to play a hard-hitting game, especially because this is the last game. It is the last game. There's nothing that the Cardinals would want more than to hand the Niners an L going into the playoffs, and it's a divisional rivalry game, so these teams know each other very well within this division. Rich Millich, what is the greatest Cardinals threat? They have a pretty good defense, although they're a little bit banged up. Offensively, don't think you're going to have to worry about DeAndre Hopkins. He's injured. So, honestly, not a lot of threats to worry about. James Conner is a solid running back, but this team is so depleted in terms of injuries. The biggest threat to the Niners, Rich, let me say this. It's themselves. It's the Niners. Justin Abilera. What's up, Justin? Someone has to go. Can we pay Bosa, Aiyuk, and McCaffrey? So McCaffrey's already under contract, and what's interesting about his deal, it's non-guaranteed after this year, so it can be restructured. And I actually think there is a pathway in which he does restructure that contract to free up a little bit more money on the payroll for San Francisco. Nick Bosa is going to make crazy money. We're talking Aaron Donald type of money, especially if he wins Defensive Player of the Year. Now, next year, he's going to make about $18 million. I'm not sure if the Niners are going to pay him before 2023 or after. He has more financial security as a first-round pick than Debo had going into the final year of his rookie contract. He also had that fifth-year option exercised. But Bosa could make $35 million per. I'm hoping that Aiyuk can re-sign around 20. That'd be a really good value deal. But McCaffrey is under contract. Then if the Niners want to restructure, they can do that as well. So could give them some financial space and wiggle room. John Wallace, he's once again our Super Chat MVP here on Tuesday, just like he was on Sunday against the Raiders. What do you think the tickets, the cheapest, will be? For the Cardinals game, I don't think they're going to be all that expensive because the Niners already won the division. The Cardinals are a bad team. Yes, San Francisco's still going for that number one spot in the NFC. But I don't think they're going to be too expensive. I think they'll be somewhat cheap there, John, especially if you go second 100 level or 300 level. K-Kang Pay, you showing off the Glock here? How you feel about the idea of Trey Lance to the Texans? So I don't know if I would trade Trey Lance to Houston. You think about it, right? You can probably, in my opinion, get a second, third-round pick back for Trey. And if Brock Purdy continues to play this well, does Trey Lance just not have a position on this football team? Now, to have two young, talented quarterbacks on their rookie deals is a benefit, and it's pretty advantageous because you're paying a lot of big-time money to some of the all-pros and pro bowlers on this football team. But the 49ers lost draft capital moving up to take Trey Lance. They lost draft capital after the trade for Christian McCaffrey, and their chest of draft picks is somewhat barren. So if you could get a second and or a third-round pick by sending Lance to Houston, if you think that Brock Purdy is going to be your starter, it's actually pretty good value back for a guy who's made 4 starts in the NFL. If it happens, I wouldn't be shocked at all. Our guy Evan Hinders, this offseason, I hope the Niners get the honey badger via trade or free agency. So you want the 49ers to trade for Tyrann Mathieu because he signed a 3-year, $33 million deal with the New Orleans Saints. So it's not a possibility for him to come to San Francisco via free agency. And honestly, Evan, I'm going to disagree with you here because of this reason. If you bring back Deshaun Gibson, you can get him back for $1 million, $2 million per year. You bring back Jimmy Ward about $10 million per year. I think that's pretty solid. Talanoa Hufanga's on his rookie contract. That's 3 players right there. Equal, maybe a little bit more than the value of Tyrann Mathieu, and that's just one player. So from a team-building philosophy standpoint, I actually might disagree with you, Evan, but I do appreciate you putting on that general manager hat as evidenced by the name there on the username, my guy. Happy New Year, brother. 16 Bar King. Need that number 1 seed. Don't trust the Packers. So the 49ers are 4-0 against the Packers in the playoffs, but I kind of worry about the Packers as well, playing their best football right now. When they run the football 50% of the time, I think they've won like 6-7 games this year. They've started to find their identity. And anytime you're going up against Aaron Rodgers in the NFL playoffs, that does get a little bit scary. And that's a team that would have nothing to lose, coming to Levi's. Aaron Rodgers is a Northern California cat. He's still hurt that the Niners drafted Alex Smith over him way back in the day in what was that, 2005, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Packers worry me. I definitely agree with you on that front there, 16 Bar King. If you made it this far in our mailbag, and if you're subscribed to the channel, like everybody who sent in a question, it's a real one roll call, baby. Type real one in the chat. We appreciate all of you for supporting the show, being a part of our mailbag. A couple more questions to get to. Mike D, $2 donation. If we stay at the 2 seed, what 7 seed would you want to face? Probably the New York Giants. That's a really advantageous, good matchup for the Niners. Detroit Lions. I think that the Niners would beat them as well. Green Bay Packers worry me the most. So I'll go Giants and teams in order of teams I'd want to face. Giants, Lions, Packers. That's what I'm going with, Mike D.